Hey Lupus Life Hackers, welcome back to Lupus Health Shop, the #1 spot for lupus warriors and family and friends who want to learn more on how to decrease symptoms through a holistic and functional medicine approach. So this week's topic, what is the difference between food allergies, intolerances, and sensitivities, and does it really matter? I'm going to tell you exactly the difference between them, what it means for you, and with lupus too. So I've gone to an allergist about 6 months ago because I had a horrible reaction to B complex vitamin to the point where my airway shut. It was crazy. I couldn't breathe. I was coughing. I had this like crazy red rash that just overtook my body, and it was really scary. And so I went there and I explained to her what happened. I also explained that I had this like random reaction to morphine one time, but other times I don't. And so just all these little things that were popping up. And they were just so random because it didn't happen every time. So then we figured out that I have chronic autoimmune hives, and that's because I have too many histamines floating in my body, which means that I have food sensitivities and other intolerances. Once I'm able to get that under control, which I have, I can now eat certain foods and I won't react to the sun, I won't react to B vitamins, and I won't react to other things because my body's not focusing so much on being reactive, but on healing and controlling what I have already. So my allergist wouldn't acknowledge the fact that there is a such thing as a food sensitivity or intolerance, but I've proven her otherwise, and that's through food sensitivity testing and food intolerance testing. And from there, I've been able to reverse all of my problems. So obviously it works. Through functional medicine, this is the approach that we would take. But what's the point of doing all of it? Well, it would help you avoid foods that trigger a reaction in your body so that your body can work on healing and it's not working on attacking your every move. If you're eating foods that trigger inflammation, that means it's going to also trigger symptoms of lupus or whatever autoimmune disease that you're dealing with. Or it's going to trigger the similar symptoms making you think it's lupus, but it's not. Eventually, you'll be able to incorporate those foods back in if it's an intolerance and allergy. But I'm going to go into the exact specifics of what each means. All right, let's go. This means you are allergic to the protein of a food. A reaction is very serious and it can be deadly. For example, dairy allergy means you cannot have dairy due to the protein. It's not a lactose intolerance. Those are totally different. Gluten allergy means you're allergic to the protein, gluten, which are in wheat products. And your reactions can cause the lining of your gut to break down, which can cause cancer later on in life. It's also horrible. Some people are vomiting for days, some people are extremely exhausted and have horrible joint pain and migraines for weeks. Same with peanut or nut allergies, which can cause anaphylaxis shock. Recent research has actually some fascinating and previously unknown links between autoimmune disease and allergies. They both exhibit immune responses involving T cells. Now I actually have a really good blog on what your immune system is and what it's made of, and it's specifically which cells of your immune system are increased or decreased based on lupus. So check that out in the link below. Anyways, allergies are dominated by the activation of Th2 cells, which drive an immediate type allergic inflammation. Autoimmune diseases are usually dominated by activation of T1 cells, a more delayed type of hypersensitivity reaction. It's now being proposed that chronic exposure to allergens, whether it's food-based or environmental, will initially lead to classic immediate type of allergic inflammation, or your Th2. After you have prolonged exposure, this can be a reason why your hypersensitive reactions with autoimmune disease, and why even in the absence of triggers, you still have symptoms and you develop more allergies throughout your journey with lupus or other autoimmune diseases. What does intolerance mean? This means you're not allergic, thank God, but it's enough to want to avoid the food because you have a reaction. This is usually because you lack a proper enzyme to digest it. For example, with dairy, and you're lactose intolerant, some people take Lactaid so that they can still enjoy the food that they want to eat, like ice cream or pizza. But symptoms can be joint pain, GI issues, and brain fog. That doesn't make it go away, so it's important to avoid it until you address the underlying problem like leaky gut, SIBO, or other issues.
Like what you see so far, subscribe and click on the bell so you don't miss out next week on our new video. Now back to the topic of the week.
Sensitivity. This means this is like the lowest level. And this means you're not missing anything in your body to digest them, but you're reacting to them. And that means you should still avoid it most of the time, especially if you're doing a healing protocol. It's okay to include these maybe once a week if you're not reacting to them or see any symptoms. The difference with this is that it's actually a prolonged exposure. So it could be a few days before you experience brain fog, joint pain, sinus issues, or feeling really tired. Those with autoimmune issues and thyroid disease are sensitive to dairy and gluten naturally, and that's why it's paramount to avoid it completely, even if you're not allergic or if you're not having any issues. The problem isn't the protein, and I have talked about this in various videos and blogs. In order to truly heal from and go into remission from these diseases, it's really important to avoid them. Eventually, you can add them back to your diet. It's just not something that should be an everyday affair. Now, to find exactly what is going on, it's important to do food sensitivity and intolerance testing, and that would be done through a functional medicine practitioner like me or someone else who's qualified. That way they can read through the test samples and they can guide you on what to do and when. If you found this video really informative, give it a like, and if you want to learn more about the holistic approach to healing lupus, make sure to subscribe to my channel. When it comes to identifying food sensitivities, you may assume you don't have any if you don't have digestive tract symptoms, but it's true that you might have digestive symptoms related to food sensitivity, like bloating, cramping, or diarrhea. That's not always the case. It's actually common to have symptoms outside of the digestive tract in every symptom of the body. So that could be fatigue, sleep disturbance, hormone disruption, mood disorders too, like anxiety and depression. And these are all common in lupus. When you eat nourishing foods, and healing foods, you can reverse the progression of your condition, have fewer symptoms, and eradicate them fully, all while feeling better. Imagine how your life would be if you were not focused on, oh, I can't go out with my friends today because my stomach hurts from what I ate yesterday. I can't enjoy a day out with my family because of something that I had 2 days ago. It would be so nice to be able to get up and go, right? Well, you can do that. You have to be ready to put in the work. So I've touched on why we should avoid dairy for lupus and other autoimmune diseases, but next week I'm going to get into more detail about the truth behind it all. So if you're confused on this subject and you want to learn more on how to be successful to reduce and control your symptoms of lupus, you don't want to miss this video. In the meantime, check out these 2 videos up here to learn more about decreasing symptoms naturally and more information on lupus in general. Thumbs if you loved it, thumbs if you liked it, and as always, I appreciate your support, guys, and I will see you next week.